nice skin, so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Life Gorgeous. My name is Craig Kilborn. This is where I share my magical life in hopes of improving your life. You know, sometimes I say it's a special show. This is a very special show. This is a very special lady to me. She's a hell of a broadcaster from my home state of Minnesota. I call her Minnesota's sweetheart. She's very natural on the air. She's very funny. I think she's egoless. We're going to find out. Please welcome Marney Gellner.
What a warm introduction, Craigers. Thank you very much. And by the way, ego, huge.
Oh, that's funny.
Putting in the
No, I have a question later about your kids that I'm going to save, but I don't think you have. Well, that's different. It's a temper, but I'll get to that later. But you do seem very down to earth because you're Minnesota. Nice, although you're born in North Dakota, correct?
Yeah, born and raised in North Dakota. Yeah.
Oh, high school in North Dakota?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Minot.
Oh, and then what college? I should know this, but I don't know this stuff.
Yeah,
what college?
Great research so far on your end.
I like it to be spontaneous.
It's called University of Mary, Bismarck, North Dakota.
Okay.
4-sport athlete in high school. Had to narrow it down to 2 in college, but
that's where I keep saying we're gonna get into that because I have somewhat of an order. The first thing I want to do is apologize for not having you on earlier. You should have been on before Guardsy. I mean, that's my bad. You should have been long before Guardsy.
Even Guardsy knows that.
I think Guardsy. What did I wanted to say was I noticed. Are you in your kitchen?
I'm in my kitchen, yes.
Did I see on your Instagram that you redid your kitchen?
Yeah, and it's not quite done yet. That's why my camera's right here, because that oven hood ain't finished. So,
okay.
Out of the shot.
Did you choose?
For you, like that plant was upstairs. I brought it down. I made sure I wiped down the whole countertop. Like I'm ready for this.
I should dust my conquistador. I haven't dusted it since Guardsy, which is weird.
Is that red light in the lamp, or is the shade just providing it that way? Because there's a lot of aura.
No, it's a normal light in the lamp, but it's a mic. It's called a mica, M-I-C-A, mica shade that was really popular in the 20s. They're in Craftsman homes and stuff, mica shades. And I also have my windows in my den are kind of sienna, so I look kind of tan. But it throws off my pearly whites a little bit. Anywho, did you use Cambria for your countertop or did you go outside of the state?
I did use Cambria for my countertop, and that is not an endorsement, but that's a good, solid Minnesota product right there. That's called Smithfield. I also used the Marvin Windows door right there, another great Minnesota product.
Right.
But
you could have just bought a new house.
I almost bought a new house, yes.
Okay.
But then we looked at the interest rates and we're like, well, let's see, this house is going to cost us X. Should we just put that money into our current house? Family vote said, yes, we stay, we upgrade. We lived through a kitchen reno. I don't recommend it. It was hideous, but what a blessing. If this is my problem in life, truly blessed. She's beautiful.
It's nice. When you redo the kitchen, years ago in 1999, when I moved out from New York to do the Late Late Show, I was looking at houses that were built in the 20s in Hancock Park. I now actually live in Hancock Park. My house is 1923, but I was working so much that I couldn't fathom redoing a kitchen because most of the 1920s homes I saw back in 99, beautiful homes, but the kitchen was ancient. And in my head, because I worked so much, I go, I can't have people here, when I'm sleeping and trying to, and when I'm working, I just couldn't handle it. But we redid the kitchen here at this 1923 house. We did not use Cambria, but I know Cambria because it's a really high-end product. It's at all the kitchen stores out here in California.
Oh,
it's
really?
a really high, it's really a high-end product, but it was pretty fun redoing the kitchen. And I'm going to do a joke now because I just remembered something. The construction guy, he said to me as we were redoing the kitchen, and we moved like the fridge, and we moved the stove and everything. And he said, well, when you walk in the door here, the kitchen door, what's the first thing you want to see? Because this is how we'll decide. And I said, I want to see Princess Cherry cooking because she doesn't cook, because I'm the one that cooks. But we redid it, and it's beautiful, and it changes. Everyone is, you know how it is. Have you shown your friends that kitchen now, and they freak out or what?
Not really. A couple of photos on Instagram, but it's not done. We're at that stage of like, we have to tile that wall.
Oh yeah,
Another decision that has to be made. And I'm really exhausted from making decisions. So it's really slowed down. We're down to details.
Right.
So it's fine. It's great. It's functional. It's beautiful. We love it.
They have a white marble tile that good price at Home Depot, just to let you know. I mean, they have different, I shop around, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go to the kitchen store or whatever and get everything from there. You can, you know what I'm saying?
I've got it. We have it figured out. It's something more unique than what you just talked about.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Vanessa is a designer gal that I've been working with. She's not super fancy. She lives on a farm in New Germany, which is like a half hour west of Chaska. If you're familiar with the state of Minnesota, it's not in the direction of Hastings. But anyway, where were we?
Okay. So, random, since I'm doing random, another random question, then I'm going to get into some other stuff. How many times has Marney seen the Alfred Hitchcock movie, Marney? Spelled differently.
Correct. Once, because once I saw it, I was like, well, I don't ever need to see that again.
Because it's disturbing, right?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I don't know how you look at a beautiful, what I'm assuming was a beautiful newborn baby girl and go, Hitchcock. Yeah. And that's what my parents did. Yeah. They named me after the movie, which is spelled with an I-E.
Yeah.
And my grandma visited me like on the day I was born and brought a card and it said Marney with an E-Y. She just assumed they liked it better. Boom. That's how I have my name.
Oh, they actually did name you after the movie.
Correct. Yes.
So they liked the movie.
Everything.
They liked the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Hitchcock fanatic. I haven't seen that one too much. I watch other North by Northwest and all those other ones. But yeah, Marney's interesting. Tippi Hedren. It's a great name. It's a great name. So 20 years in broadcasting in Minnesota. Is that about right for you?
Yeah. Might be 21. My first year, I started in late October as the Timberwolves season started in 0203. So October 02, very end of the calendar year of 02, I started with the Timberwolves season. Like first game was my first job in Minneapolis. Yeah. So that's 20
and
years.
you've done sideline reporting, you do studio.
Yes.
And occasionally, ladies and gentlemen, Marney is at the game doing the play-by-play for television. Now is that a rarity or has it happened a bunch of times?
Through the years, probably maybe, I don't know, 6 in the last 2 or 3 years. But I'm always pushing the play-by-play guy to take a couple games off,
right.
Or take the national gig, whatever it is. In this case, Michael Grady, I'm sure he's got some big game that CBS or NBC has called him for. And so he's out for a Wolves game next week. I'm stepping in Orlando to do play-by-play.
So that game, this airs that day, Tuesday morning. You're going to be down in Orlando doing the play-by-play for our Timberwolves. And I just thought, just to help you out, I've come up with some calls. You do not have to use any of them. These are potential calls during the game for Marney. Okay.
Ready.
Okay. So this is when the Wolves are turning it over. Okay, because they sometimes turn it over. Are we watching a Vikings game? What's going on here? Okay, that's just a little. Oh, suddenly we're watching a Vikings game. This is okay. Here's another one when they're turning it over. Jim Pete, what in the world? So you're stealing his what in the world, and you're kind of making fun of him. Like they turn it over, you go, Jim Pete, what in the world? You're beating him to it.
Now he's got nothing left to say.
He's got nothing after that. When Cat makes a drive. Oh, controlled voltage.
Controlled voltage as opposed to straight. Okay. I like that one.
Again, no obligation. I'm just I'm just giving these.
Uh-huh.
I did this once with Costas and he did it, but he was supposed to do it with a basket. He was supposed to say, what was it? Oh, that's some fine quality lemonade when someone made a jump shot. And he was doing it on NBC. And during halftime, he came back and said, welcome for the second half. And Dustin Hoffman brought him some lemonade. And he goes, that's some restaurant quality lemonade. That's what it was. He didn't do it during the game. Cat makes a drive. This is subtle. Oh, he's fully in control. Sans voltage. I'm just riffing now. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jordan McLaughlin makes a play. Oh, floor game. We call it a floor game. Floor game. Move over, Kirk O'Janes. There's a new quarterback in town. Okay. Thank you for your patience. I'm enjoying this. Now, this is the last one. This is for a 3-pointer, but this is only for a Wolves home game. So you can't use it in Orlando. Okay. Oh, deep 3-point. Ant from Hastings. Oh, from Hastings, nestled on the Mississippi. You could use this in Orlando. Oh, that's Kilby range. Oh my God, that's Kilbourne range. Okay. Okay. From the Lexington in St. Paul. And finally, from Lexus in Wyzetta. That's for our buddy Charlie. Okay. Are any of those usable?
I wrote down one of them and I'm going to cross it out.
No, those are, I'm being silly, but do you come up with calls or or you just play it straight and just have fun, or what do you do?
When I just step in for a game, it's hard to be like, well, I'm going to say this and this and this and really leave my mark. Then you're trying so hard and it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the game. So I really try not to. I do Lynx play-by-play, as you know.
Right.
So I do every game for our WNBA Minnesota Lynx, and I do play-by-play, and I've tried to weave in a call here and there, or like Nafisa Collier when she hits a 3. Oh, it's a fee 3. And nothing's really stuck, and I'm waiting for a game-winning shot to have that, incredible call. But if it's scripted and planned out, then it loses.
It can be very forced. It can be very forced.
Yeah. So no, I don't plan anything. The 3 from Hastings has potential. I'm going to put that one back on the list.
So when you were growing up in North Dakota, did you dream of being a professional athlete? I don't know if they had women's pro sports back then, or did you dream of going to the Olympics, or do you dream of being on television? What were your dreams, young Marney, back in exciting North Dakota?
Well, it was an idyllic place to grow up and way to grow up. First of all, for anyone who's listening going, oh God, North Dakota, wonderful upbringing. Minot, population 30,000, fourth largest city in the state. So we do call it a city. Why not Minot? Friesen's the reason. So
I had not heard that one. Why not Minot? Friesen's the reason. But it's not colder than the Twin Cities, is it?
No. Like Grand Forks and Fargo kind of are, but they're on the far eastern side of the state where it's very flat and the wind tends to bite right through you. Minot is in the upper northwest. We're not far from Montana. So we're very rolly. Like you cannot find a flat street in Minot. It'll take you a while. Yeah, it's beautiful. A lot of trees. A lot of people don't realize that is North Dakota. The Twin Cities people who only go as far as Fargo. But young Marnes dreamed of, not sports broadcasting. I can tell you that. Not sports broadcasting. Even when I started in sports broadcasting, I was like, okay, well, this is just my base for whatever it is I'm going to do. I was obsessed with SNL.
You told me that once.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. Yes.
And sitcoms. So I wanted to, in my wildest dreams, of which I put zero effort into actually achieving, let's be clear, was either be a cast member or a writer on SNL or be in a sitcom.
Oh, and did you want a casting director just to kind of drive through Minot and discover you when you say you put in no effort? Was that the dream?
Yes.
So it's on them. They failed.
Well, yes. And I was born in 1973. So I'm 50 years old. Good for me. So I grew up 80s,
Yeah.
graduated high school in 92. But in high school, like I'm thinking about sitting in, a math class or whatever, algebra, and dreaming about how am I going to be on SNL? How am I going to be on a sitcom? People then, I didn't know anyone who just moved to LA. Nobody
Oh,
did
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you're sort of more connected to the world because of the internet and Instagram, and you can message people and you can just make connections that
Yeah.
you couldn't. And I hate to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but it truly was like it was a dream. It was not anywhere near reality though
Sure.
for me.
Right.
I mean, since then, the lovely and talented actor Josh Duhamel has
Yeah.
emerged, who is also from my hometown of Minot.
Oh,
So
okay.
that would have been a little different. Like that would have been a door that I would have not realized could have been opened. So that is what I blame anyway, as I
Right.
sit here as a sports broadcaster still, which is a lovely life and a wonderful profession. It just wasn't what I dreamed of doing.
But yes,
And I
but
will
you enjoy it. You enjoy it.
yeah, I absolutely enjoy it. But if Lorne Michaels is watching this podcast and looking for a white, short, squatty 50-year-old, I can make myself available.
I don't think he watches. But I'm trying to think of who watches. I say it's big in London and Paris just because I like saying that because it's on YouTube, but I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, going to LA is a big deal. And when I did it in my early 20s, I used to say to myself, well, I don't know when I thought this, but I'm always gonna write a book, and I will one day. I'm not in a rush at all. But I was going to dedicate to all the talented people from the Midwest who don't come out to Hollywood because I have a lot of respect for them because you've got to be not crazy. You've got to be very, very assertive to do that.
Yeah.
But when I came out, and I took an improv class, and I thought sitcom. I wanted to do a late night show, but there weren't that many, and there were so many sitcoms. But this is kind of silly, but I was bothered that all these people who grew up in LA, my age, were staying. I was 23. They were staying at their parents' house. I had to pay rent. I had to go buy a mattress and a bed and a bed frame.
Yeah.
They had an advantage on me because they were already in LA. It's competitive out here, and you had to compete with these locals. It bothered me. That's kind of a weird way of thinking, but I was thinking that when I was in my early 20s because so many people from around the country and world come to LA. Crazy.
Maybe it made you work harder. Maybe it made you want it more. Maybe it fueled a desperation in you that you didn't have.
I don't know. I circumvented the normal way. I couldn't get a Hollywood agent. Then I went up to Monterey and did really well in local TV. And I was the news director, who's still my friend. He thought I was hilarious. And he let me do all this comedy. And people were like, "You're going to be on SNL." And I had no desire to be on SNL because it was so popular. I kind of wanted to do kind of what I did a little bit, which is my own little path. Back to young Marnie, I think you're great. And do people say what I say is you're very natural on the air? Because you are. Do people tell you that?
Yeah. Sure.
That's kind of your selling point is you're very natural and easy to listen to, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's great. Do you ever have over the years any issues with any of the athletes or the coaches? You don't seem like you would have any problems with anybody.
I, as a human being, do not like controversy. I do not ask the tough question, which is why my job is perfect in that I don't work for, the LA Times or some non-biased entity where I got to get in there and ask this tough one and I hope I make him squirm. That makes me so uncomfortable. So as a
Interesting.
team partner, because I work for the network that has the rights to Timberwolves games, Twins games, Wild games, Lynx games, all that. So it's perfect for me because we're always trying to spin anything. Sure, the Wolves have a lot of turnovers, but they didn't have as many last game. Sure, this
Right.
guy got a DUI, but it's only his first. Like always spinning,
Right.
spinning the
Right.
story, showing the positive. So if asking the tough question, no, because I don't usually have to do that. I've had people walk out. Like I was waiting for a post-game interview with Sam Cassell, and he just walked off on me because the camera wasn't there soon enough.
Oh,
And he thought
right.
it was hilarious. And I was almost in tears just out of, shit, what do I do now? Type of stuff.
Right.
So those kind of things have happened. Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's you don't have to do like the John Krasinski's writing these, articles analyzing
Yes.
the ups and downs. So he has to sometimes he's
I can't
he's
live
such
in
a
that
nice.
world.
What's that?
I could not live in that world. I
Yeah.
couldn't do that. I just personality wise, I can't do it.
So you said you played sports growing up and you said you played 4?
Yeah.
What were they?
Well, in high school, everybody played 3. And if you had a summer sport, I went basketball in the fall, volleyball in the winter, track in the spring, and softball in the summer. And that was not outrageous by any means. A lot of people played 2 or 3. 4 was not that unusual.
And you were a good athlete, right?
I'm Jackie of all trades, master of none. I feel like that was my athletic career. That is also my professional career. I can do almost anything you ask me to, but I'm not going to perfect it and be the best. But I've played, now I play golf. I just have a natural athletic golf swing. The ball goes everywhere unless I'm really working on my game, which I don't have enough time to do. But so yes, Jackie of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about golf because I don't play. Thank God I tried. There's some guys like that are coordinated. I was very coordinated, even though I was tall. Larry Bird's coordinated. That's why he can pass and shoot the way he does, but he's not very good in golf. And I just don't have a strong core and it hurts my back and it's stiff. So I'm so glad 20 some years ago I stopped playing golf. But yeah, so you're good. You have a good golf swing, huh? But you're not accurate.
Someday I will be.
Yeah.
That's one of my retirement goals.
Yeah, and you do. It is time consuming. You have to go to the driving range. You have to play multiple times a week to keep to stay in that groove. I think I heard a rumor years ago. Tell me if this is true. That it was a road game for the Wolves and the crew. You guys are at a bar, and Marney Gellner does a flip or a backflip in the bar. Does that sound right? Did I hear that correctly?
Cartwheel.
Cartwheel
Probably would have been accurate.
Okay. So, there's a cartwheel. Yeah, it sounds.
It's Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and why did you do it?
For money.
Oh, okay. So, give me the set it up for me. Who was Jim Pete said $40 says you can't do a cartwheel?
I was like, Mommy could use $40. I will show you. Yeah. Did I mention I was also in gymnastics as a younger one? You might have heard of me, Marney Gellner. So I have that background. And so we were in a restaurant. It was a Wolves game, night before a game, and the crew was there. And our producer, Vanessa, Jim Pete, director Dave, I think, maybe a table of 6 or something like that. And I can't even remember how the topic came up. And we were talking about gymnastics. And I said, well, I can do a cartwheel still. And he was like, prove it. You can't.
Who said prove it?
Pete. You can do a cartwheel now, right now, in this restaurant. I was like, yeah, and I did not think I was actually going to do a cartwheel. And then all of a sudden he put a 20 on the table and Vanessa put a 20 on the table. And I was like, well, here we go. Yeah. So I stood up in the restaurant, just walked behind the table, told the wait staff, give me a sec right here. Did a perfect cartwheel, landed it, posed for the judges.
Right.
And collected $40.
Oh, so had you done one prior to that in months or not?
Oh, no, years and years.
Oh, really?
But it's something that it's the riding a bike thing. I mean, I can't do a back handspring anymore or, some of the.
It's so hard. And plus you were wearing a dress, so it's really hard, That's amazing.
Well, I was till the cartwheel.
That's hilarious. Now, I think I read the tweet or something. And I thought it was like, she did a cartwheel again. So it was a one-time thing. It's not a recurring.
One time.
Okay.
But if you're offering, if there's cash.
That's hilarious. So what is your favorite sport now as a fan, not necessarily working? I'm basically getting down to, are you a Vikings fan, a Wolves fan, a Lynx fan, or what is it number one for you?
Yes, and yes. I feel like because I work so many games that I don't look at sports the same way as I did 20 years ago before I got into this, but I am a Vikings fan. Yes, very much so. Went to a game this year against the Chiefs. I am a big Twins fan, but I have worked so many games that when I go to a game, I don't enjoy it the same way, or I look forward to
Sure.
not working in an evening, like having an evening off is a pretty big deal. But what are my favorite? Like, well, Wolves first and foremost, yes, and
Oh,
then probably, I mean, Twins and Vikings. It's nice because they're opposite seasons, so I can
sure.
be Vikings can be my favorite team in the winter, and the Twins can be my favorite team in the summer, and yeah,
Right.
all of them.
So you make a very good point. When I worked in sports, it became a job. It was a job.
Mhm.
So now I can enjoy sports the way I want to, purely a fan. Purely a fan. I used to be obsessed with the NBA where I knew every player, every college they went to, and all this kind of, Joe Dumars, McNeese State, Robert Parrish, Centenary. I knew all this silly stuff. And now I just, watch every Wolves game. I know how to turn it off. I turned it off the Knicks game in the second quarter.
Mhm.
I follow the
Yeah.
score. I can't watch us miss layups and turn the ball over. I can't
Mhm.
watch. I've been watching too much. Happy the Twins won 2 World Series. Baseball's a slow sport. So I'm basically every Vikings game extremely intense since 1970, 71. I was a Chuck Foreman fan. He started in 72. Love the Vikings. It's painful. Love them. They've always been good. No Super Bowl, always been good. Proud of the Wolves. But yes, the other sports, it's just, I don't, the baseball. Now, if they play well, I watch the playoff games with the Twins, but I just,
Yeah.
I don't watch. I didn't hear you mention the Wild at all.
Oh, I like the Wild too.
Do you? No.
I didn't grow up with hockey. My husband
Right.
walked through the screen is actually a hockey arena manager
Oh,
in Prior Lake. So we sort of
well,
lived
that's how you redo
his
the
job.
kitchen with that kind of money. No wonder you redo the kitchen. He's
Well,
probably got a Zamboni somewhere.
yeah, it's not in this. I couldn't fit it in the shot.
Right.
But our kids, we have 2 kids who are now teenagers, but anything you want to do, music, plays, sports, whatever, including hockey, it was all open to them. Neither one of them gravitated to hockey, which secretly we were like, sweet, because that's
Right.
what Matt does all day long at work, and I'm just always cold, so it worked out.
I always want to know, have you ever, because Minnesota, so we took a transfer, my dad took a transfer there right before kindergarten for me, kindergarten through 12th grade. I grew up there, did not know it was the coldest state in the United States until later. Had a joyous, happy childhood. But I don't live there, just to let you know, I don't live there. Did you ever, in your 20s or 30s, did you ever say, let's get out of this state? I mean, I love it there, and the people are nice, and the saying is, we like it here. That's the saying. But did you ever think about moving?
Yes, we almost moved to Fargo. So that's probably not what you're talking about.
That's not what I'm referring to. And have you and Matt, have you talked about retirement? And
Yes.
had you say, oh, we're going to Arizona or Florida?
Yes.
Ooh,
It's sort of mapped out. And yes, it will be Phoenix area. The
Oh,
Phoenix
good
area.
for you. It's a great area. My folks went down to Tucson, and Phoenix and Scottsdale is a great area.
Beautiful.
I drive because I don't like to fly. So when I visited my folks in Tucson, we would drive to Old Town Scottsdale, the area around there. There's, I think, a place called Litchfield, I think is what it's called. But there's some great resorts there, and you'll like it there. Do you visit there a lot?
Yes, my parents have been going to Mesa for I don't know, maybe 10 years, and my grandparents for 20 years before them. Little trailer, the trailer.
Yeah.
It's a 55 and older active community where they live. And I feel like where they live in one of those, I mean, they're called mobile home parks, but that makes it, I don't mean grungy. I mean, they're just the way the 60 and 70 and some 80-year-olds live these days. It is like dorms. It is like college dorm rooms for 70 and 80-year-olds. They're just all having happy hours, and you're 4 steps away from your friends and 4 steps away from your other friends. So I've been trying to recruit the the gals that I grew up with in North Dakota and friends that I've met here, like, hey, we're all on the same page, right? We're all retiring in Arizona, right? It's not Florida. It's not, we're going to Arizona. And then we're all living in the same mobile park so that we can just drive our golf carts and sip our happy hour Long Island iced teas. And we'll be back in dorm life and it'll come full circle and we will have earned it. And that's right. It's platted out.
Does Matt have a vote?
Yeah, I told him what his vote is.
Everything sounds good. The area sounds good. I don't know about the dorm room setup, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, I noticed
a dorm.
Yeah.
The like you're all there. You don't have to drive. Let's take an Uber. We're all going to Nancy's house. No, Nancy right there.
I noticed when I've lived in California for a very long time, I've noticed, so for me in the Midwest, it's like I dreamed of California. Go west, young man. It's, and I love Carmel. I love San Francisco. There are a bunch of little coastal towns that are beautiful. But I did notice that natives of California, they romanticize about Hawaii. They like to go to Hawaii. And, your buddy, your former boyfriend, Dan Barrero, he dreams of Hawaii. He says he's going to retire in Hawaii.
Sure.
Have you ever thought of Hawaii? Do you care about Hawaii? I don't really care about Hawaii, but I don't like flying. So that's.
Yes, I know that about you. I care greatly about Hawaii. It is very high on my bucket list. I have never been. Oh. And one of the reasons is the flight and the length of the flight. I think there's a Minneapolis Maui or Minneapolis Honolulu, maybe direct, that just started recently, like within the last year or something. But I feel like you need, especially coming from Minnesota, you need a vacation day to travel there and you need a vacation day to travel home. So if you're doing like a 5-day stay, now it's a 7-day.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but I work all the time.
Right.
It's a problem.
Right.
It's a problem. I'm trying to navigate around that, but haven't been able to yet. But Hawaii is very high on my bucket list. Have you never been?
Oh yeah, I've been there. It's funny when I've been there about 2 or 3 times, but not to all the cool islands, just to Honolulu. We went. I remember we got I think at Montana State, there were 4 or 5 of us that were freshmen, including Trig Johnson from Anoka, Minnesota. And our freshman year, we knew the schedule before we signed to go to Montana State. We played at Hawaii. We played Chaminade and Hawaii. Wow. And one day we all said, the only reason we came here is because there's a trip to Hawaii our freshman year. Have you traveled to Europe?
No, I haven't. I have been.
Oh, this is interesting. I don't know this about you. Once you said you've never been to Hawaii, I wonder if you've never been into Europe. Is it because you work so much or because you're not interested?
Mostly work. I have been to Mexico twice and I've been to Canada countless times because I'm from North Dakota or the Timberwolves play and the Twins in Toronto. So I have never left the continental United States.
Oh.
Or the continental North America.
Right.
All name a city. Wish I could go there. Would like to. Maybe.
Okay. This is fascinating. Okay. So you have a desire to travel. Is it on your bucket list to go to Italy?
Yeah.
Or to London or Paris?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. What's your favorite American city?
I love Phoenix. Seattle?
Oh.
Maybe?
Okay.
Depends on the time of the year. I love Seattle. I love water. New York City. I love when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
They're so related to work for me.
Okay. Okay.
For 10 years, I traveled with the Timberwolves full time NBA schedule. Yeah. It is a brutal travel schedule. It is bang, bang, in and out, 2 a.m.
Did you martinis with Tibbs after a win?
As much as he wanted that, I didn't know. Not a lot of martinis with Tibbs.
I wonder how much these guys drink on the road. I could ask, but it's like, because when I was in my 20s and 30s, I drank more. Well, I drank more in my 30s, but you got to be careful. I see LeBron, he goes out, he loves his red wine. I know their bodies recover quickly when you're younger, but you got to be careful. I did ask, you already know this. I didn't know this. I just said, they don't have alcohol on the plane for these ball players. It would be a major mistake. I don't know. Well, I guess sometimes they do, but for the most part, they don't. I think it's when they know they're flying home and the players have to get in their cars and then drive home. I think I
Yeah.
was told they don't serve alcohol then, you know.
Right, but there are a lot of times where we go to a city and there are charter buses waiting to take us to our hotels. We are allowed to bring alcohol on. I mean, when I say we, I mean the back of the plane full.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
seat was right in front of the bathroom, but it was on
Right.
the plane, so
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's such a different way of life. I mean, even my family, I know they know, but they really don't know. That life of like chartered flights and buses and the dizzying. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what city I'm in. I forget about my hotel room. I would put it in a note in my phone so that, oh yeah, I was in 629 last week. I'm in 1124. I mean, it's a heck of a lifestyle, man. NBA travel schedule. Oof.
Did you when you went to a city, did you say, did you research the restaurants and say, I want to eat here, I want to eat here?
Probably early in my career, and then I was like, "What's close?" You know, it got
Right.
so it just was a job, and
Right.
yeah, at times, yes, and there were nicer places, but you just don't. I just didn't. We didn't have a lot of time. A lot of an off day in a city, sure. And if like Jim Pete's wife, Tika,
Yeah.
if she was on
Yeah.
a trip, that's when we knew something good was going to happen because she would be like, "Well, we're going to try this, and we're going to go here," and she would have
Oh,
the energy to make that
yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once in a while, yeah, we discovered some new nice places. Like we were in New Orleans and we ended up in some bar restaurant that had this beautiful backyard patio with a bonfire and these pretty little drinks. And I was like, I didn't
Yes.
know this existed in New Orleans because I
Yeah.
only eat at that place 2 blocks away and
Yeah.
kind of fall into that same routine.
My favorite American city, it's on some hard times now, is San Francisco because they say it's the most European city in America along with New Orleans. And I've been in New Orleans a number of times and had Bananas Foster's there at, I think it's a famous one. I can't remember what it's called. We like the restaurants over here. Kilby likes the restaurants. But I
I
try to
noticed,
drink,
yeah.
I drink in moderation. I'm very disciplined. Couple more questions before we get to your top 5 movies of all time. I can't wait to hear this. I mean, are you kidding? Okay, so do you have a temper, and do you ever yell at your kids? Because you seem like a very nice person, but you don't have a temper.
At some point, I have a temper, but I'm not quick to temper. I think the most mad I get like in my house is with hangers. When they get wrapped up for some reason, I have an irrational, yeah, bad hanger.
Oh, that
Meant to
is,
light my
yeah,
fuse like
that'll
that.
throw you off.
Yeah. With my kids, yeah, of course I yell at them, but always for good reason and hopefully with production to come. And then we try to talk about it later. That's how we
Have you?
think.
My parents used to get frustrated, especially my mom. I mean, I had the greatest parents in the world, but they would say, uh, "When you're 18, you're moving out. Just remember that. When you're 18, you're moving out." Have you ever said that to your
No,
kids? No?
no, no. And as a matter of fact, I would like for them to stay as long as they want. But I
Yeah.
say that because they're 15 and 13 and I want them around and I want them to need me.
Right.
And when they are 18 and 19 and they're getting lazy and maybe not contributing to society the way they should, I'll probably come around to that.
Right.
I wouldn't doubt that. I feel like where we are living in our lives right now, which is 50, Matt's like 40, I don't know, something. And the kids are independent enough to make their own food, get up by themselves. Like it's hands off. It's not toddler and you're running around everywhere and look out for the stairs. And
All right.
we are like this period of time is probably the sweetest in a human being's time that I can possibly think of. I
Oh,
feel
the
like
teenage years? You like the teenage years? Yeah.
so far I love them for the
Yeah.
independence. We
Yeah.
don't even have a driver yet. Our son has his permit. He's not 16. So maybe things will change. That's what I'm saying. Like just right here, sweet spot, just trying to hang on to this.
So they're not potheads.
They're not potheads that I know of. So don't bring it in the house.
Just don't bring it in the house. It sounds idyllic. Are you on Lake Minnetonka?
No. I'm landlocked in Chaska,
Oh,
southwest.
I don't know the Twin Cities like I should. I grew up in Hastings, but I moved out after high school. So I just knew, Dad worked in St. Paul. I knew Como Park. I knew the State Fair.
Sure.
And I did go up to the Boundary Waters canoe area one summer in 8th grade, but I don't know the suburbs. And then, this summer or fall in September, I went to the State Fair and a Vikings game. But Ryan Tanke took me on Lake Minnetonka, which of course I've heard about, but I never had been there growing up.
Really?
Yeah. We did take trips up north to go to cabins and take trailers, and I mean we took trips. I went to Mount Rushmore. That's South Dakota, correct?
That's South Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw Old Faithful. Oh, where's Old Faithful? That's
Wyoming?
Montana, Wyoming. Yeah, right around there. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I had never been on Lake Minnetonka, and I was driving the boat there, and he was pointing out, there's the guy who owns Cambria. He lives right there. He did. They said
I have a
that.
word with him.
Yeah. So no, it's a beautiful state, and I love coming back. Everyone treats me appropriately, like royalty, and that's very nice. I just love this because I've watched you over the years. You've, again, very likable. Blah blah. Can Marnie cook?
She cannot.
Oh
No.
wow.
I have a lot of gifts, as you know, a lot of talents. Not cooking. Yeah.
Interesting.
I can.
What does Matt think? So Matt's probably a great cook.
He's good, and he is the main cook.
Right.
I can heat and I can boil.
Right.
I want to be able to, but again, it's the lack of time and the lack of evenings. When I work a game,
Right.
games, they happen at night. So I'm not here.
Okay, so I gotta break this down. Is it TV dinners for the kids, or do you guys order in, or what do you do?
No, it's a lot of keeping ham and buns and noodles and hamburgers
Okay.
and just
Right.
having that kind of stuff. And a lot of times it's 3 or 4 different things. Oh, I'm eating this leftover. I'm
Oh,
going to heat up these frozen meatballs. We've got an air fryer. I don't want to brag. It's got 2
oh,
benefits.
that's
We've
good.
got an air fryer and we've got a pizza oven, which is why we built the butler's pantry, because all that
Oh.
stuff is out on the countertop inside there. Shockingly, we do not have a butler, but the rest of it is like freezer food that can go into an air fryer or a pizza oven or a microwave and then become a meal.
Have you added on square footage to this house, or is you just
No.
it's as is? Okay, you
As
have
is.
okay. And what? How many years you been there?
I was pregnant with Finley and she is 13. So yeah,
Okay.
actually Christmas was 14 years.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Because I have the Life Gorgeous quiz at the end, so we have to do the 5, and I just I'm dying to know. Because sometimes I like to guess, what was that movie? I never saw it. There's No Crying in Baseball, the Rosie O'Donnell movie. What's that called? Is that on your list or not?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh,
League of Their Own? Yeah.
League of the
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. It's now time for Marney Gellner's top 5 movies of all time. No particular order unless you want to order them.
Well, I had them ordered.
Ooh.
I'll go 5-1. I'll go 5-1. I had to put some thought into this because I could give you my top 5 sitcoms, or for sure my top 3, top of my head, I could give you sitcoms because, I have an obsession with them.
Right.
But movies, not as much, also not as much time to see said movies. So here we go. Number 5. Part of the reason for this one being in number 5 is that it's timely and I just watched it. It is Christmas Vacation. But it deserves to be up there because when you can watch a movie over and over again, and sometimes somebody will be running it in the summer randomly, and I'll still stop and watch it.
Question.
Yeah.
So is it better than the original Vacation?
I don't know if it's better than during the Christmas season. Yes, it is. There is something about all of it. The moose cup that we're drinking, the eggnog, all of it. There's something about it that is better. I don't wish to compare. It's like
Right.
asking a mother to choose her favorite child, which I
Okay.
have one. If you want to know, I'll tell you. So yeah, Christmas Vacation. Any follow-up questions?
No, I've never seen Christmas Vacation. I've only seen Vacation, and I've seen Vacation multiple times. The other thing, and I like it. And the one thing I would say is I have a friend. Uh, his name is Lon Rosen, and he used to work for the Lakers. He works for the Dodgers, but he was Magic Johnson's manager. Fletch is his favorite. He just loves Fletch. Anyways, he thinks it's the greatest. But go ahead.
They hit you different ways.
Yeah.
A movie or a character or an actor, they just hit you in the right spot. For example, my kids love The Benchwarmers. I tell them that movie is crap. And they're like, I don't know. I like it. What are you going to do?
I don't like it. It's sophomore. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So number 5 is Christmas Vacation. Number 4, don't at me, is Grease.
Oh.
The music and the Ramalama Ding Dong. I for some reason, I grew up watching it, even though I think it was probably out in the 70s, released in the 70s.
I think so. Late 70s.
Yeah. I love the music. I love the innocence of it, the Danny Zuko. I don't know. There's something about Grease. I love it. The greatest soundtrack of probably my, I don't know, up to 15 years old, maybe. We had the album, and you opened the album cover and it had all the pictures of the movies and 2 different records. Played that a lot.
Did you see back then Saturday Night Fever with Travolta and the Bee Gees soundtrack?
I've seen it. It didn't hit the same. That was 4. Number 3, Jerry Maguire.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Why? Tell me why, because there's something in there. I mean, I think it hits everybody the same way. I'm looking for my wife. You had me at hello. I mean, those lines.
You had me at hello. Show me the money.
Yeah.
The human head weighs 8 pounds. That kid. It's such a perfect mix of kind of that rom-com, but sweet romance.
Right.
With this sportsy angle of, I mean, Tom Cruise's greatest work. Who's going to argue that?
Did you ever see the movie The Firm with Tom Cruise?
Sure. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one that I watch over and over again. But at the end of the movie, his wife comes back there because she had given him his space, and he was packed, and she says, "Where are you going?" And he goes, "Looking for my wife." And then she says something. And he goes, "Did I lose you? Did I lose you?" Because she was very disappointed in him. But I like those dynamic lines, and he is a wonderful actor, obviously. And Jerry Maguire, which I've only seen Jerry Maguire twice, I've seen The Firm 12 times. So because I like espionage and spy and crime and those kind of thrillers. So yeah. But anyways, and I'm not a big fan of sports movies, which I consider Jerry Maguire a sports movie. But anyways,
yeah, it kind of is, and that surprises me because I like something like your Slapshot and Major League, but I don't like them because they're sports movies. Like, I'm not drawn to them that way. So as I was putting some thought and effort into this segment, I could not take Jerry Maguire off of my list.
Great.
We're left with 2, which are for me interchangeable at this point. But my all-time favorite movie has been my all-time favorite movie for 30 years. So I'm not going to take it off the list. Number 2 is Bridesmaids.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I haven't seen it. Other people have mentioned it. Please don't freak. Don't shatter your Cambria, your countertop. I have not seen Bridesmaids.
What is preventing you from watching that?
I rewatch the Wolves in the morning when they win. I watch them at night. We have to add another score. We have to add things to the Wolves. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you've seen Bridesmaids 12 times, but you can't squeeze in Bridesmaids. The scene on the plane when they are on the airplane going to the bridal, when they don't make it to their destination. I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Right.
The bachelorette party, supposed to be. The scene on the plane, which is maybe 15, 20 minutes, is one of the greatest theatrical, comedic.
Right.
Melissa McCarthy talking about putting it on Pod Nano where it shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You- I, it is a hilarious movie with some of my all-time favorite funny females.
I just looked it up. So it's a comedy romance, 2011. I look at the IMDb ratings. They're rarely wrong. You need something rated 7.0
Okay.
or above.
And this one is?
Although The Firm was the big mistake. They had it at 6.8. It's now up to a 6.9. All the Hitchcock movies are over 8. A lot of this is only a 6.8, but which solid. But I thought you might say something like When Harry Met Sally or something like that. Okay.
No, well, it's just a fine film. It's a fine
Yes.
film. But comedy, again, when it hits you, right?
Yep.
That cast, like Kristen Wiig is one of my all
She's great. She's great. Yeah.
all-time favorites. Melissa McCarthy, hilarious. Just,
Do you want to give me hints for your first one? But let me just see. I bet you I haven't seen it. If you say it's interchangeable with Bridesmaids,
yes, but you already.
I won't get it.
I don't want to say ruined it, but you already said it.
When Harry Met Sally?
No.
Oh, what was it? Which one?
About there's no crying in baseball.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Leave their own. Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite movie.
Okay. Well, I was right that I guessed it though.
Yeah.
I guessed it.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I like to try to figure that out. Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah. These are some of these are what we call women's movies, right?
Yeah.
Like, because Matt doesn't have Bridesmaid, his number one movie of all time.
No. He
might have The Godfather. Maybe Matt likes. Oh, that's a great one. People, yep, yeah.
Which I'm not mad at. But
you're not mad at Matt. It is offensive to people when you haven't seen certain films. I visited like 5 years ago. I was seeing these people, this couple, and they said they said Shawshank, and I had not seen it yet, and they freaked out. And then I saw it, and I go, yeah, I can see why people like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I watch North by Northwest. I like Chinatown. I like The Graduate. I do all that stuff. That's a very, very good list, and I appreciate the effort. There's the elephant. The elephant in the room now is the sitcom, because I'm now going to guess. I have a favorite sitcom, and I didn't even.
Yeah.
What's that?
I know yours because I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, and I didn't watch. I watched sitcoms growing up, and then when I worked, I didn't watch television, so I didn't see Frasier until after the fact. After I quit in 2004, then I watched it. It's the greatest thing because I like that kind of erudite, white collar kind of stuff. I watched Cheers in college, and I liked Cheers. I'm going to guess yours. Okay, I Love Lucy, The Office.
Love it. I don't know that I would. Okay. I was thinking
you have 3 favorites. You said, right?
Love
okay.
it.
I'm gonna try to guess 3. Okay, I'm off right now. Friends.
Yeah, that's 3. Number 3. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've never seen Friends. By the way, that really bothers people. Not interested in the young people.
I gotta admit, it's shocking.
Maybe I shouldn't admit that, but I have friends that like that I haven't seen Friends. But the people like
it's popular. Do you want to not see it because it's popular? And you, like your friend Dan Barrero, you've got to just go against what everybody thinks. Especially if it's really popular. You're definitely
no. I was working and I wasn't interested. But here. Oh, just to let you know, Marnie, I didn't watch Seinfeld, and as I left late night and just got addicted to Frasier, I have not gotten addicted to Seinfeld, and I love him as a stand-up, and I saw him do stand-up before he ever did Seinfeld. So I like him, but it's just, I'm very particular. I don't really watch sitcoms. Now I just watch espionage movies. I just rewatched 3 Days of the Condor. I just watched all the Jason Bourne movies over again, which I adore.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff I like. So I apologize about Friends. Let's not focus on that because it really blows people's minds that I haven't seen it. But I know people like The Office, and then people who really know, they'll say, well, the British Office is better. I don't care about How I Met Your Mother and all that other crap. I'm trying to think. Cheers for you? Cheers?
Really, really liked Cheers. It's not in my
Right.
top 3, but probably in top 5 for sure. Top 10. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Seinfeld?
1 or 2.
Seinfeld?
No, mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
My 1 and 2 both have a laugh track audience.
Okay. Well, let's see. I've got one that, again, I have lady friends that are actually a little older than you, but they like Golden Girls.
Number one.
Yes.
Number
Yes.
one.
Yes.
The original Sex in the City. Am I right?
Yeah.
The four
Yeah.
friends living together.
Yeah.
What kind of hijinks are we going to get into? Each one has a
Right.
separate personality.
Right. That's a good show. And I
Good
haven't really
show.
seen it, but I know it's good. I enough people have told me that Golden Girls is good.
Yeah. And it's on the Hallmark Channel all the time.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just tell you number two, or do you want?
Well, I think I actually enjoy this. This is
Okay.
entertaining for me. I don't know if anyone else cares, but okay. So you're saying it's a laugh track, multi-cam sitcom from the 70s or 80s or 90s? What decade?
Very in the Friends era. In the Friends era. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. What was a big, I see that some of these shows like Will and Grace. I don't know. I know nothing about, even though I've interviewed all those people, but Will and Grace.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Is it
Yep.
any good? Is it any good?
Wonderful.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this, the more appropriate title could have been Jack and Karen, because those two, the supporting cast,
Yeah.
Megan Mullally and Sean Hayes. Sean Hayes has a podcast that he's
Right.
don't know if you heard.
Yeah.
Those two, and the humor, the physical humor, the timing of the humor,
Right.
incredible. The actual characters of Will and
Right.
Grace,
Yeah.
and Jack and
Right.
Karen carried that show and made me laugh so hard.
Right.
That show it did it for me. It still does. It hits me in the right spot. Wonderful.
Yeah. I used to interview Eric McCormick all the time. He's great. But you're saying he's more of a straight man in there, right?
Don't tell him what I just said about him. But he was great.
Yeah.
No, he was great. And they had, funny you should say straight man, because he plays the gay man in
Yeah.
the show. Just didn't carry it was more the, what do you call that? Slapstick comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was Jack and Karen. Always
Right.
slapstick comedy. And the physical.
Right.
And it wasn't always like punch you in the face, fall down physical. It was the facial expression and the,
Right.
and I'm going to sit on the couch a funny way. That kind of stuff.
Right.
Perfect.
So what are your thoughts on Frasier?
My thoughts on Frasier are that I didn't really get into it because it felt so pompous to me.
Well, I appreciate you doing my show, by the way.
Good night.
That you were able to put up with my pomposity today. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I liked it so much. But we're different
Really?
people. I didn't grow up in Minot. This will tell you a lot. You ready? This will tell you a lot about. So my father was very funny, and he says, I hate to use the word arrogance, but he goes, you get your arrogance from me, son, you know? And when we moved to Minnesota, he says, don't ever talk like the locals. Is that funny?
Well, we are very offended by that.
By the way, you have no accent whatsoever. You have no accent whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You have, oh yeah. You don't do any of that stuff.
Holy smokes. I hear it once in a while in things that I say, but I did try really hard to clean it up. I was very conscious of the hard O, especially in North Dakota, when we say, oh, I'm sorry. And so I tried, and now it is second nature, but I do, like my mom will say, like, oh, we're staying in a motel, and it'll be like the Holiday Inn, but that's a motel.
Yeah.
And so there are things that I pick up on, but I tried to lose it for the job.
Right.
And now I've lived in Minnesota my whole adult life. So
okay, that was great. That was fun. It's time for the Life Gorgeous quiz. Simple questions, profound insights. Only a couple. Favorite Minneapolis restaurant, Marnie?
Does it have to be specific to Minneapolis? Because it's Capitol Grill. And I know that is a chain, but I have never had a bad steak, sea bass, or salmon, which are the three things I rotate between, at Capitol Grill.
Where is it? Where is it located?
7th and Hennepin in Minnesota. You'll find Bally Sports North right above it.
Oh, okay.
State Theater, kitty corner from Target Center. You're familiar.
Okay. Yeah.
Home of the Wolves, home of the Howl. I don't care that it's a chain restaurant. Capitol Grill every time. The lobster mac and cheese might be my absolute favorite menu item of.
Right. There's a restaurant. There's this guy named Michael Mina, and he has places. He has Mina's in San Francisco. He has a place called Bourbon Steak. They have in Vegas. They probably have in Florida. They have one, bourbon steak. They also have out here at the Americana Mall in Glendale. And they have something called a lobster pot pie. And we had Princess Cherry had it years ago. She had it up in San Francisco. This was around 2000 and I don't know, 10. And it was $75. It's now like $140 for their lobster pot pie. Bourbon steak. Unreal.
Is it like a chicken pot pie covering, like that
Correct.
breading
Correct. It's the crust. It's the pastry. It's a pie, like an apple pie filled with creamy lobster.
Oh man,
it's out of control.
Delicious.
Minneapolis. So I know David Fema. I like Fema's. I like Mason Margot. I go to Manny's. I go to Murray's, et cetera. I'm
Gavin Cates and Spoon.
Gavin, yeah, he's got
wonderful.
Yes. Okay, here's one. This, I bet you, favorite restaurant in St. Paul. Are you going to be a snob and say you don't go to St. Paul?
It's not because I'm a snob. It's because I live in the southwest suburbs. Mancini's.
Which I
don't do a lot of, but yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
go
not
to
a snobby thing, Craigers. It's a lot of traveling. It's like where I am now in no traffic. It's 40 minutes to St. Paul.
Oh yeah.
So
I forgot to ask, but you did tiptoe a little bit and say a few. Do you drink a little bit? Do you drink red wine?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's why that makes sense then not to drive 40 minutes and go to Mancini's and then try to drive home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And the Uber's like $80 each way.
Right. So Meritage is a French restaurant in the Hams building that I recommend in St. Paul. And then recently there's a legendary place that I got to go to called the Lexington, which is very nice.
Yes.
Check it out.
Very fancy. Yeah.
Favorite Timberwolf of all time for Marney Gellner. Do you have a favorite? I want you to say somebody. You probably won't, but that's okay.
Favorite Timberwolf of all time. Now, I judge them differently because I don't judge them by their production on the court.
Good. You're getting warm then to maybe who I want you to say. Okay, go ahead.
My interactions with them, and I honestly don't have Corey Brewer.
Oh, I love Corey Brewer. That's not who I was thinking of, but I love him because of his effort. And I loved when Rick Carlisle and the Mavericks won, and he says, and Corey Brewer, we wouldn't have won it without him, because Corey Brewer, played well in the playoffs or something.
Who were you going to say?
Ricky Rubio.
Loved him.
Everybody loves him.
Love him.
Change the face, smile, be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to make a top 5 list, he would be on it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love someone who has a, I don't know, is it energy? Is it aura? Is it, I don't know. You just know.
An effervescence.
Yeah. You mesh with certain people and immediately.
Right.
And those are that positive sort of happy.
Springy.
Spree-y.
Spreewell.
I'll tell you what, Latrell Sprewell was so much more approachable and nice and likable than he gets credit for, because so many people remember how he left.
Yeah.
And that he could be a little intimidating on the basketball court in person. And the people who saw him out in the daily, he was super low key and nice and conversational. And
correct. He was so nice to me when I did the training camp with Flip for the 2 days in St. Cloud. Spree was hurt. And so he wasn't practicing. He was doing rehab or in the training room, but he would chat with me. He has a great baritone voice. And I made a pass in the practice in the not in the scrimmage, but in the 3-on-2 drill. And he came out, and I knew he hadn't been in the gym when I did it. I go, "You just missed it." He goes, "I'm sure I'm going to hear about it now, Craig. Tell me about it." He was funny, but no, he was a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy. That's hilarious. Do you get to hang out with Finchy? Because I got to meet him. He's a great guy. Finchy's a great guy.
Hang out with. He is super casual.
Down to earth. He's very
super down to earth. The most down to earth of any NBA coach I've ever been around, and certainly. I feel like that has been part of this team. Like even when I met him he was like, call me Finchy. And I'm like, I'm not going to call you Finchy. You're coach. He was like, call me Finchy. And now he's Finchy. And I can't think of a better word that sort of describes he's our friend. He's a pal. He is a really good coach, though.
Yeah.
Don't forget that part of it. I hope he never leaves.
Yeah, I want him to have a long run. By the way, we're recording this after they lost at home to New Orleans, and we don't have to talk hoop, but I can just pick up the phone and call Tim Conley, but I'm not going to. I don't abuse my privilege here, but we need to add. I said we needed to add a shooter. I'm going to say more than that. We need to add a third scorer because Brandon Ingram. It's so easy for him to get shots off. Now, as much as I love Cat, he doesn't shoot the jump shots off the dribble. He either shoots the jumper or does that drive all the way to the rim, and we hope he doesn't foul. But when a guy like Brandon Ingram, when we play these teams with shooters, McCollum. So you had McCollum and Ingram can shoot, and then Zion goes to the rim because Cat's our best shooter. Ant's a scorer. We need more offense because you can't play that intense D forever for 82 games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it okay that I'm venting here?
Yes, I think we all in Wolves Nation, we're at the point where we need to vent. It's 2 losses in a row.
Right.
For the first time this season. First of all, perspective. It's early January, and we, for the first time all season, have lost consecutive games. That's incredible.
Right.
Incredible. However, for about the last 2 weeks, the Wolves have not been playing
correct
the basketball. They played great at Sacramento. They played great
at Sacramento.
Lakers. Yeah. But within the last 2 weeks, minus those 2 games, it has been a sharp, I feel like, decline and fall off, which happens and is okay. The tricky thing is, are you on the uptick and do you have it all humming in April and May? As long as we get there, I'm fine weaving through January and February and taking these dips. And maybe we need to go through this in order to figure out how to deal with this adversity. That's how I always look at it.
Right.
Do we need another score? Like an off the bench flamethrower would be awesome.
Okay. So I wanted the off the bench flamethrower after last year's series with Denver. I'm going to continue and just give you because you said some very sensible, calm, poised things. I'm going to be greedy because it's like, why can't we dream about winning a championship? So if we're going to do that, we have to make some changes. We have to do something as opposed to, oh my God, we're one of the top 5 teams in the league. My goal before the year was to finish in the top 4 in the West. That's still my goal because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's very even. When we played Denver, which was the best team last year, I like how we match up there. They've got Jamal Murray who can shoot the lights out. They've obviously got Jokic, who's amazing. But against other teams, we might have more of an issue with the New Orleans or like a Sacramento. I don't know how Phoenix, they're not really playing well, but they have 3 shooters that they haven't gelled yet. Mm-hmm. But I said a long time ago, we need that. And I already know they wanted to do that. They went after DiVincenzo, who went to the Knicks. They couldn't afford certain guys, but they know they need a shooter. Okay, so we've identified that. Here's my other thing. This is a little trickier. Finchy said a few weeks ago, we're not going to have a guy have 14 assists. We don't have that kind. That's not our system. Everyone moves the ball.
Yeah.
I like John Stockton and Rubio handling the ball because Jaden McDaniels and Nas can't always pass that well because I loathe turnovers. And I even said this once to Finchy last year or something. I said, you're playing the Clippers, you get the rebound. Kyle has it. Nas is streaking down the middle. He's at midcourt. I said, don't throw it to him, please. And he throws it to him because it's a fast break. And then he whips it in the corner out of bounds, trying to hit a guy in the corner. And Finchy says, I like the pacing. I live with these turnovers. So I want more Mike Conley, Jordan McLaughlin to handle the ball. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Your reaction.
I think that is fine to want that. Have you seen Anthony Edwards? Are you going to tell him that he shan't handle the basketball anymore?
No.
Because
that's an exception. I'm talking about Jaden and Nas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're creating an idyllic Pleasantville in your mind. And I don't know that it's going to happen because now you take away some of Nas's, maybe a lot of Nas's playmaking ability. Have you seen his in and out?
Yeah, he
He's
likes that. He enjoys
dazzling.
that. Just shoot the ball, shoot it, don't pass it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm being too close-minded. I apologize.
I think
And I loathe turnovers. I'm a perfectionist.
yes. Okay.
And, you know,
Well, you've had a rough month.
Papa, yes, I have. I have. Unless it's Josh Dobbs turning it over, then it's fine. No, I'm kidding. Okay, final question. Now, this is one that I enjoy. It's entertaining for me because I don't eat a lot of carbs. And you said mac and cheese and ham around the house, so maybe you guys
Yeah.
have
For the
sandwiches. But
kids.
yes. So, top 3 sandwiches of all time. Sandwiches for me are a treat. What are your top 3 sandwiches of all time? Marney Gellner.
Ooh. Can do I want them to all be in the same category? Let me tell you, my ideal sandwich is always toasted. I have
Good point. Love it. You have to toast it. Yes. Good point.
panini, something on sourdough, grilled
Yes.
and toasted. Oh, get out. Yes, every time. I have a thing with bread, the innards. So you have a bun, like the top of the bun, the outside top, wonderful. The inside of the top where it can get a little doughy,
Yeah.
pull that out. And it is not so I can carb save. It's the bready doughy. So a toasted sandwich, a patty melt.
Ooh.
With
Okay.
the
Time
onions.
out. We have to take a time out. You said buns. I don't do buns. I don't like buns. I like sandwiches. I like rye. Patty melts, a lot are on toasted rye or grilled rye.
Wonderful.
Is it? Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good one. Okay. I like rye bread. I think I've said that 3 times. Go ahead.
Something in the club family with a honey mustard on it.
Okay. That's good.
I will give you a good, and I mean a good, so high end with good cheese, tuna melt with some. Did I hit a sweet spot?
Yeah. I can't believe it. Some people have a problem with that. Some people have an issue with that. But one of my friends on the air said that was, I think he listed at number 1, tuna melt. I have tuna melt number 3 on my list.
Oh,
Yeah.
and a Reuben.
Oh my God.
Good Reuben.
Did you?
Thousand Island.
Right.
And a good toasty bread. Oh.
Okay. So without overreacting, because I don't like to pressure like people, watching my podcast, and I don't care. And I always ask the question, like, you haven't seen any of the podcasts because you've named 2 of mine. Reuben is number 1 for me.
Is it really?
Yeah. And when I mentioned tuna melt to John Krasinski, Johnny Athletic, he was like, oh, that surprises me. That's not as sophisticated as I thought Kilby. I think he was thinking of a tuna sandwich. I said, no, tuna melt. He goes, still, tuna melts. Those are, my mom used to make that. Okay. I love tuna melts.
Yeah.
So,
but they can't be fishy.
No.
Yeah.
Tuna melts are great with the cheddar cheese on top.
Yes.
So I love Reubens either on pumpernickel or rye. It can be corned beef or pastrami. And I love Reubens. I love sauerkraut. Some people don't like sauerkraut. That's my number 1. My number 2 is a cold sandwich, but it is on toasted rye. I like chicken salad. I just like chicken salad. So I like it with walnuts or grapes. I like it with red onions on there and cheese and toasted. I like the mayo. I like chicken salad. That's Craig. I like chicken salad. Initially, I said tuna melt, and I said yes. And then Princess Cherry says, I thought you liked grilled cheese because we like going to grilled cheese sandwiches at all these restaurants. And I go, yeah, but I'm going to go back to tuna melt because I almost had grilled cheese in there, but I do tuna melt number 3. So you did very well. You said you did. I think you're the first person to get 2, Reuben and tuna melt. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But you also named 4 sandwiches because you said a club and then you.
Yeah. Also like a chicken pesto. I love pesto, but again, it has to be on a good grilled, like if it says on grilled sourdough, it could say tree bark. And if it said on grilled sourdough, I'd be like, I'll pull off the tree bark.
You mentioned pesto. So let me ask you, I love pesto. It's made with pine nuts and basil and garlic and Parmesan. And, yeah.
Oh, I thought it just came in a jar.
What's that?
You make pesto?
Oh, we've made pesto. I just know how it's made, but I buy it in a jar if I want it now. Yeah. I mean, we'll make it homemade because we have basil in the garden, but I didn't discover it. This is what I want to ask you. How old were you when you discovered it? Because I was out of college working at this restaurant called Papa Louie's, which now is the Library Ale House on Main Street in Santa Monica. And this guy from Buffalo was an Italian, and he had an Italian restaurant. I waited on Bert Convy and Magic Johnson and Norman Fell there back in the late 80s. And we had tortellini pesto, and I had never had pesto. And I said, this is amazing. So when did you discover pesto? Well, I didn't have it growing up in Minnesota.
No, I mean, as an adult, for sure. I can't tell you I remember my first
They
time.
don't have it in Minot. There's no way they have pesto in Minot. They have burgers and they have pizza. They have pizza, cold cuts, and burgers in Minot.
It's Sloppy Joe's. It is. I don't remember my first time with pesto. I know I now love it, and especially chicken pesto. I do remember the first time I tried salmon. I was an adult in my 30s, and the Utah Jazz had it in their media dining room. And our producer, Skip Kruger, said his favorite food is salmon. And I was like, I have never in my life heard another human being say their favorite food was salmon. Because again, grilled cheese and Sloppy Joe's and I grew up, my dad loved to fish. My seafood consisted of perch, walleye, northern.
Catfish.
Not in North Dakota. No,
okay.
Perch, northern, and walleye.
Yeah.
And it was all disgusting. And I put so much tartar sauce on it. I'm picking out bones. That was seafood to me.
Yeah.
I never had scallops. I never had sea bass. I never had salmon, any of that until I was easily in my 30s.
Wow.
And I do remember the first time I tried salmon, it was in the press room in Salt Lake City before Timberwolves Jazz game, probably, I don't know, 8, 10, well, maybe 10, 12 years ago at this point. And I loved it. And now I love salmon.
Yeah, I did too. It's my favorite fish and then I also like trout. And then I do have branzino. They serve it at the Italian restaurants out here. But I love my fish. I don't know when the first time I had salmon was, but I've been eating it for ages because I don't eat too much red meat, even though I get gifts from Omaha Steaks, and I have some in the freezer. I made ribeye the other day. I mean, you kidding me? What a life.
Those Omaha Steaks, they are delicious. And do you ever get the apple tart? It's like a dessert thing. Wonderful.
I don't want to be too dramatic. Caramel apple tartlets, they're tiny, and Princess Cherry went crazy. They sent us like 4 the other day, and it's just, I didn't order them. I wanted some other stuff, and they threw in the apple tartlets. Out crazy. Oh my God. I could ask you, next time I'm going to ask you about your sweet tooth. We're not going to get into it today because I don't have a sweet tooth, but I like to beat people who have a sweet tooth with better taste. Like I'll say, what do you like? And I go, what about cheesecake? And what about key lime pie? You know, that kind of, I beat them.
I wish I didn't have a sweet tooth because it would be a lot easier to cut back on certain foods. Because when I'm done eating a meal, I'm not done until I've had my chocolate.
Right. Oh, chocolate. Yeah. That's Princess Cherry chocolate. That's what she does. It's too bad. Yeah, she's a nice person. She's a good people. Thank you, Marnie. That was a joy. That was fun.
Well, I really liked it. Thank you for having me. I think I'm like 8th or 9th on the Minnesota and Timberwolves.
It was an oversight. You know how sensitive those guys are. You know what I'm saying? If I had you on before Rosen, I wouldn't hear the end of it. I mean, you know.
Well, nobody's on before Rosie. Just ask.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Go Wolves.
I loved it. Thank you, Kreger. See you in the finals.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I want to thank the great Marney Gellner. We'll see you next time. And remember, young people, I'm proud of you.